Hi everyone, welcome to Potluck Food Talks. My name is Eric. I'm here with Phil W. Walter, and we're going to talk about, I don't know, what are we going to talk about?
We just catch up. We haven't talked to each other in like a month, which is very strange. I feel like you're like my estranged brother that has been ripped away from me and I haven't seen for a couple of years.
Yeah, like at least a couple of weeks, maybe even more than a month or 6 weeks, something like that. How's it been, man? Have you cooked anything exciting lately?
A couple of things. I mean, obviously, as I work in a restaurant, I'm kind of trying to push the development further. Tragically, our PacoJet died. So we had to find some creative alternatives to switch our dessert menu around from one day to the next, because our management has failed to provide me with replacement PacoJet.
But I saw you had like a PacoJet dessert, right? Like there was some ice cream thing you were serving or posting, like a tartlet.
So, I mean, because we're actually like a little bit low budget here with the kitchen equipment that we have, we had a PacoJet, which is not low budget. I mean, it's an expensive piece of equipment, but we used it for all sorbets and all ice creams, which is, okay, like proper ice cream machine is better, of course. But I mean, you can also make stuff in a PacoJet, which is totally fine. And, in a way, it's also kind of convenient, for people who don't know what a PacoJet is. Basically, it's like a high energy mixer. It's got like a rotating blade. You arm it with a sort of metal cup that has like 750 milliliters of like frozen liquid in it. And the blade kind of turns at a very high speed and then like goes up and down in the cup. And so it blitzes this frozen mass really, really finely. And you can make ice creams, you can make sorbets, whatever. And I had this thing, I was like testing out a recipe for a citrus tart. So like a kind of like a filling for imagine a lemon meringue tart. I wanted to do it with like mixed citrus fruit, put some yuzu in there, maybe some grapefruit. And I got past this recipe. It's really, really nice. Super cool recipe for a citrus tart filling, where like when I read the recipe, I was like, what the fuck is this? Is this going to work? It sounds so strange. But basically, you take the citrus juice, whatever you want, can be lemon, can be lime, anything. You put it in a pot together with butter and sugar. You bring it and the zest from the citrus, right? And in a separate bowl, you add whole eggs and more sugar, and you whisk it until it's a little bit frothy. It doesn't have to be white or stiff or anything, just a little bit. So you boil the juice with the butter, bring it to a real boil, and then you pour in the egg with the sugar right into the mixture, stir it a little bit, bring it up to a boil again, and then you blitz it with a bar mix. And once you've mixed it for like a minute and it's really fine and incorporated, you fill it into the tart shells and it sets into a perfect custard.
Okay. That's so super crazy.
Yeah, when I read this recipe, I was like, what the fuck? First of all, you boil the citrus juice. And I was like, well, is it going to lose its freshness? Is it going to lose its thing? No, not really. But the most weird thing about the recipe was like, you pour the egg in and you boil the egg. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, it's going to taste like scrambled eggs, no?
Yeah.
But no, actually, it doesn't, It's to do with the citrus, the citric acid and the amount of sugar that for some reason, this mixture just kind of stays the same, Like it doesn't actually coagulate like it would with like a normal egg mixture. And super cool. Like it's a super, super clean recipe.
Nice.
But anyway, what I was saying is that like I tried this out and it was really good. It was like perfect texture, super nice and custardy. But then I had like loads left over. And I was like, well, fuck, what am I going to do with all of this like citrus custard? So I took some of it, I put it in a PacoJet container, I froze it, and then I spun it through a PacoJet. And what came out was this weird ice cream that was like a texture in between like an ice cream and a pudding. So it was like a frozen citrus tart custard.
Okay. Sounds amazing.
Yeah. And so we did this like thing where we made, instead of like just a classic citrus tart with the set custard, we made these like fine tart shells and then added some like citrus jam, compote, preserve on the bottom. and then added like a big dollop of this like frozen custard and kind of spread it really cleanly into this tart shell and then plated different things on it. I mean, we did like a little bit of apricot schnapps and like woodruff oil, and then we covered it in lime zest, and most importantly, the flowers and leaves of holy basil, which is like a very floral basil. And it gives like this combination of this like really beautiful basil and the citrus acidity. It's really, really nice. Yeah.
I was in Barcelona just last weekend, and I went to at least 4 or 5 ice cream shops, and I went to Albert Adria's new, I think it's called Gelato Collection. Yeah, that's exactly how it's called. It's in one of the Ramblas. That one was good. It was really nice. I mean, it's Albert Adria, but like it didn't felt like super outstanding. You know, like I had a green curry ice cream. It was super nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, then he had like a piña colada one. I don't know, like the fruit ones were super nice. I had one which is a classic from Pierre Hermé, which is raspberries, lychee, and roses. Super nice. But that was not my favorite ice cream shop. It's one called Paralelo. That one was so next level, man. Everything I had there was super nice. Like I had like an anchovy ice cream.
Oh, wow.
Beetroot, another one with stracciatella, another one with dulce de leche, and everything was over the top, man. Amazing.
How was the anchovy ice cream? Was it sweet or savory?
Savory.
Wow.
I mean, I was going for something really experimental. And actually, they asked me, like, you want to try this first before we serve it? So they gave me like a little spoon. So I tried it, and I said, sure, let's have it. It was nice.
Nice. That sounds super cool.
Yeah. And then you were talking about this whole butter experience with the lemon tartlet and everything. I did Olvera's pineapple butter. Man, that shit is so addictive.
How you have to explain it to me. I don't know how you make it.
Yeah, you know, like he has like this pastor taco, but it's a fish pastor. I learned this from my friend Luis Herrera, who worked at Cosme in New York, and he's serving something quite similar at his restaurant Ensenada in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a grilled fish that is brushed with a pastor adobo and grilled, and it's served like with just like a quenelle of pineapple butter, and it's like a super simple recipe. Basically, you slice pineapple and you cook it in butter until it's like nice and roasted, like at low temperature for at least 2 hours, right? And then you blitz it with cold butter, same as you would do like a lemon butter or any kind of butter, you know, like something like 20 pineapple, 80 butter. So you have this super rich, delicious pineapple butter, man. I did this fish pastor tacos with this butter, but then you can use it for whatever, for crepes, for everything, man, for kimchi toasts, whatever. It's incredible. It's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I have to try that. That sounds amazing.
Try it. It's super easy, and it's one of the best things in the world. I tried this at his restaurant, and I asked him for the recipe because I needed to cook it. You know, like, I knew it was something super simple.
I made something the other day where I'm kind of like, now that we're talking about condiments, and I like rediscovered a recipe that I'm kind of like, man, it's so simple, but it's just such a nice recipe. And I was kind of teaching the guys in my kitchen how to make it, because I was like, okay, look, I'm going to show you this, and like I just want to have it on place. So I'm just going to show you all, so we can just like, if I say, hey, let's make some lemon confit, you know what we're talking about. And it's a recipe from Hoffman. I don't know if you remember this like lemon jam from Hoffman.
No.
So it's actually super simple. You take lemons, you peel the skin with a peeler, right? Not with a knife. Depending on your peeler, ideally you use a peeler that just peels off enough so you don't get the white. If you get a little bit of white on the skin, you have to take it over with a knife additionally. Then you take the fruit and you cut off the pulp so that you get the fillets. And then out of the rest of the carcass, you squeeze out the juice. So you have basically the lemon in 3 sections. You have skin, which you cut into really, really fine julienne. Yeah, like as long and as thin as possible. Then you have the fillets, which is the fruit meat without any of the connective tissue. And then you have the juice. And then you make a very simple jam out of it. But like the steps are really nice. So first you take a saucepan, you add a thin layer of sugar, and you heat it up until you get a very light golden caramel, very, very light. Then you add your lemon skin julienne. You sweat those out in the sugar. Then you add a splash of dry white wine, like a Riesling or something like that.
Yeah. I did something really, really similar. I was going to tell you that, like, I knew something similar with wine. So you're kind of telling me exactly the same thing I was thinking about. Okay, go on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then you like deglaze it with the wine, and then you add the fillets and most of the juice, but you keep a little bit of fresh juice back, and then you add some more sugar. And then you cook it down until it's like, a syrupy consistency and like medium heat. The fillets, they're going to half disintegrate and give this whole syrup like a nice body. The skin is going to cook through and candy. And then at the very end, when you get the right consistency and you check the flavor for like a sweet, sour balance, you add the rest of the juice so you get that little bit of fresh citrus kick. And it's not super sweet. It's very fresh, lemony. It's not bitter at all. And you have these beautiful curly, like once it cools down, these beautiful curly citrus julienne. And it's like a super nice condiment for obviously desserts. You can put it on ice cream or whatever, or like, garnish it or whatever. But also for like fish, you can take that, mix it with a little bit of good quality olive oil, maybe some toasted wild fennel seeds, brush it over some steamed fish, it's super, super nice.
That sounds super nice, man.
Yeah.
I also did a super cool kimchi. Like I found this article on New York Times that features 5 kimchi master ladies from Korea, with completely different approaches and also completely different styles of kimchi. One is like a super CEO of a big kimchi company. The other one is like a nun doing kimchi at her, like this kind of profiles are like completely diverse. And I was interested in, because, I would always be like super lazy. I usually have kimchi at home, but I would buy, like pre-made base, mix it with, the cabbage, put it in the fridge, and that's it, like to have something sour. But I felt like, okay, I feel like I want to do like the whole process, right? So I was interested in bike kimchi, that is called, that is like a white kimchi, and they use yuyups. You know that? It's kind of like a Chinese date.
Yeah, I've never used them before.
Yeah, and also this kimchi master was called Kang Song-soo. And yeah, she also used something that reminded me of pine nuts. So I was like, okay, this seems super interesting to me. And then, carrots and fish sauce and doing like a base with, with some starch, because just to feed the bacteria and also to make like the sauce thicker.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, I feel like I'm doing that. And as I'm going to Japan, a friend from Japan asked me to get him some garum from Cofradia, which is the Fisherman Guild's restaurant here in San Sebastian, which is run, by the way, by Marcel, who he was the first chef de cuisine at Mugaritz back in 1999. And then he was like the long-time restaurant manager, like he like the operations manager at Mugaritz for a long while. And then he also was like the operations director at Culinary Center.
Yeah. And
now he's running that place. So every time I go there, it's like visiting an old teacher, and he's at the bar, and I was thinking about introducing that place to my pincho tours. So I tried all the pinchos. This place does everything only with fish, not crustaceans or mollusks, only fish, like vertebrated things.
Yeah.
And so like I tried everything. The saladilla was amazing. The fried merluza, similar to the one we had at Tamboril, this one that is coated like in an egg wash.
So good.
The one they do there is super nice, super nice. I think that was my top pincho of the place.
Wow.
And then I had like a bottle of this nice anchovy garum that they do. And that was my key ingredient for my kimchi. So I did like this. Basically, I've never done it like that way. You put you cut your cabbage and you put it like in a salt brine, and for a while, and then you prepare your marinade with the garum, and I added also some pineapple leftover I had from this pineapple butter. I also had like this. I didn't have this Chinese pine nuts or this Chinese dates, this jujubes. So I got normal dates and pistachios just to make something, like different, and that made sense to me, and that I found that to be delicious. So I prepared this whole marinade. I also used my habanero anchovy hot sauce that I had. That for me makes perfectly sense because it's super aromatic and it also has like anchovies.
Yeah.
And I left this kimchi marinating like for 5 days outside. It's really hot these days. And man, it became really nice, on point of salt, super sour, and like natural lactic acid sourness. Not so spicy because it was also for a present for a friend that doesn't eat that spicy. So I kept my spiciness level low. But what I love the most is that it's super... like I eat it every day. I put it on every sandwich I do, on every toast, on everything, and I still have a lot. So that was like a super thing like a super fun thing to cook.
I love that. Yeah, that sounds super, super nice. I mean, my last kimchi experiment at home went super wrong, and it just started molding like crazy. Which actually never happened to me. Like I've always kind of like made kimchi and it's always worked really, really well. I usually do it with I make like a puree out of pineapple and onion and garlic and stuff. And I like blitz that and make the marinade out of that. And I put some apple in also. And it's always worked perfectly. But like this time, I don't know, it just went completely wrong. I've actually now that you were talking about pistachios, I did a thing recently, which was really nice. I was kind of like, that I'm kind of going to sort of try out, work out a little bit further, because I was kind of thinking of these like Mexican sauces, like pipián and stuff like that, which are super, super tasty. When I was in Mexico, I you have these things that are called encacahuetado or pipián, made out of like pumpkin seeds and stuff like that. And I kind of remembered that the other day, and I wanted to bring it into like a different context. And so I made the sauce out of like roasted pistachios and then cooked down and caramelized sort of like onions with garlic and like spices, like sort of a little bit of cumin and stuff like that, and peppercorn. And then I added a little bit of like really fatty coconut cream and let that cook down and reduce a little bit with the toasted nuts, and then blitzed it. And it was like a really smooth, saucy sort of like pistachio, coconut, pipián cream. And it was really like a really interesting flavor, I'm kind of thinking of using that for like a meat or a fish dish, but I still have to work on it further. That's what I love about cooking, It's kind of like when you take an experience or a memory and you kind of bring it into context with like the things that you have, and something new gets created. And I especially love when you have you create things that you can put in your toolbox, that you have this like condiment that you can then like draw on and be sort of like, okay, I'm going to add it. Yeah, I'm going to add it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why you remind me of, I also recently did, because you used pumpkin seeds. I recently did just for myself, like a super simple salad. I love using melon as a savory ingredient, treating it like a tomato.
Yes.
And then the result, it's interesting because it's more actually like a cucumber. It's kind of like the same family than a cucumber, like a melon.
Okay.
But once you add salt to it, it reminds me of a super sweet tomato. Like that experience of having something super sweet and adding salt to it.
Yeah.
And have you ever fermented melons? Because that's also crazy. If you try to do like a fermented melon or like a melon vinegar or this kind of things, it tastes like cucumber. And it's like, oh, wow. Okay. Like
I've never fermented melon. I've made like melon vinegar with like champagne vinegar, and it was super, super tasty. But like, yeah, I mean, for me, melon is like, I actually have this like really crazy, how would you call it? Like this connection in my mind of like melon and raw pumpkin. So I remember at one point, because I was like juicing pumpkin and I was tasting the juice, and it was like a very nice ripe pumpkin, like when you take a good pumpkin and you let it sit in the cellar for like a month or so, and like it loses a little bit of its water and the flavor gets concentrated. And then you juice it and it's like super concentrated. And I was tasting the juice and I was like, man, this tastes like really ripe cantaloupe, like melon, It's super, super nice. And I was like, man, it would be really nice to like make sorbet out of this, and just because it has this like real floral sweetness. It's amazing.
Yeah. Have you eaten in some interesting places these weeks?
Well, I was actually in Tenerife for a week. And I mean, there mainly I had some really amazing meals in sort of small fishing villages, the sort of place where they don't do anything like groundbreaking, but like you go there, you choose the fish, you tell them how you want it, whether you want it grilled, a la plancha or whatever, And actually there, I ate something that I ate for the first time, which doesn't happen so often. So these guys, like at the counter, they had this like plastic crate with cut up fish, and it was big chunks of moray eels, which are these like super scary looking big sea creatures, right? They're like, they look like eels, obviously, They're the pets from the villain in Ariel.
Okay.
you know what I mean? And it had that. And these guys, they were sort of like, you would order like a portion of them and they would just simply fry them, just deep fry them, really crispy, salt. That's it. And the thing with them is they have loads of little pin bones. So you have to kind of choose where you eat, but you take it with your hands and you just like eat it off the bone. And because of it has this like really beautiful, flaky white flesh, almost like a cod. And it has a lot of like fat and collagen. So the skin and the outside becomes super, super crispy, almost like the crispy bits of a chicken wing. Super, super tasty. I was like, wow, what the fuck? And it's a product that I've never eaten before. You don't find anywhere. I'm kind of thinking of like trying to get some for here, because but I don't know, my suppliers are probably gonna hate me.
I think Spaniards, maybe also Italians, maybe also Portuguese are the kings of fish frying. It's incredible, like the way it's done around here, especially in the south.
Absolutely. It's so good, absolutely. There was this one fish place that we used to go to, and this guy, he used to it was also kind of the similar thing. And he used to just boil his fish, he has a big pot of like really salty water. And also like langoustines and stuff like that, like little shrimp. He used to just throw them into boiling water for like a certain amount of time, fish them out, put them on a plate and send it out. When I saw that the first time, I was still in the very beginning of my cooking career. And I went there with my grandparents, and I saw that and I was like, what the fuck? This seemed really strange. Taking a whole fish, popping it into boiling water, taking it out again, putting it on a plate and sending it out. I was like, what the fuck, man?
Okay.
But it was the most perfectly cooked fish, like some of the most perfect seafood I've ever had in my life. It was so good. And I think if I tried to recreate that, I would probably make a really fucking disgusting boiled fish.
Yeah, the things you need to have the touch of knowing exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
You remind me of, I think the name is Rafa's, which is like a legendary place that the guys from El Bulli would go there to grab inspiration. It's in the same,
yeah.
I think Anthony Bourdain also goes there, and Jose Andres and some of the episodes. But this guy only does like seafood and very easily cooked, like plancha or these kind of things. For example, for the mussels, he would take like a strainer. He would fill the strainer with the mussels or clams or these kind of things, and he would pour boiling water through the strainer, and that's it. That's the way he would cook it. Just letting water go through the clams and until they open, and that was it.
Wow, never seen that before.
Yeah, nice, no?
That's a really cool idea. I have to try that.
Yeah.
It's like really, this is some of the like coolest cooking for me. It's just like mega minimalistic cooking.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of like, and there it's also like, if you fuck up by a couple of seconds, you fucked up big time. Where you can basically throw it in the bin. Yeah.
Yeah. I also went to a few good places. I had like a super nice, also fried seafood at Yacumanca, which is Gaston Acurio's, one of Gaston Acurio's restaurant in Barcelona. So it's Peruvian. So I had like a super nice Nikkei ceviche. I love that shit, man. Like I can't eat enough of that.
It's so good.
like having a ceviche with this Japanese leche de tigre. Wow, that's, like there's nothing that can go wrong with that.
Yeah.
And then causa.
Yeah.
So they did like this specific causa with fried squids, and also like the salad was with a salad of centollo, of king crab.
Nice.
And these super crispy pieces of fish with the ensaladilla of king crab. It was just incredible.
And the smashed potato,
yeah, and the ají amarillo just over the top. Super nice.
Honestly, I think Nikkei is one of the most underrated cuisines, and like Peruvian, like the mix of Peruvian and Japanese is such a cool mix of technique and of ingredients, like the ajís of Peru. And obviously, I mean, we don't have to talk about Japanese technique, but like, man, just like you say, these like the different styles of ceviche also, they're so versatile, and there's so much technique involved if you do it like in a high level so that all the balance is right.
Yeah, like this place, they had like the menu had a section of ceviches. So they had like 8 different ceviches. Then they had like 8 different causas and 8 different woks, something like that. And that was the menu. Then you had like snacks and different things. We also had like some croquetas of ají, like this ají de gallina, which is like this chicken stew made like with this yellow pepper, chili. It's super nice.
I love ají de gallina. Super tasty. In Dubai, I used to make ají de gallina croquettes.
That's what we had, exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's exactly what we had.
Yeah, just make like a big mix, thicken it, and loads of ají amarillo.
And then when I was in Madrid, I really avoided to become that person, but I did. I did fall into the hole because they told me, you're here. We can bring you to this super nice Basque restaurant. And I'm not a Basque restaurant. I'm coming from the Basque country, like for many times I avoid this, but I did it with by accident kind of. I went to a concert. That's the reason I went to Madrid. It was like this rap battle event. And when I went out of the event, there was only one place open. It's called Hermanos Vinagre, which means vinegar brothers. This is a super nice place, man. Like they specialize only like in super high quality pickles. They have like they call it on the menu the world's most expensive gilda.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And everything, all the pickles and all the anchovy things and all these kind of things were just incredible. I also had like an escabeche, also like a fried pig's ear, and everything super nice. So I was like, okay, great. Check one. I'm having gildas in Madrid. Okay, I feel like an idiot, but the gilda was very good. I had to try it. I had to, I couldn't avoid it. I love gildas anyway, but I wanted to see the comparison and everything.
No, of course. If I would have been you, I would have posted a picture on Instagram saying best gilda. Best gilda in the world, and then the place next to it, Madrid, and just see everybody freaking out.
Exactly. And then the next day, like I had like a time before taking my was it a plane or a train? I don't remember. It was a plane, I think. But I had like the whole day, so let's visit some museums, and everything was closed. There was like huge queues to most museums. So I wrote my friend Fernando, the one that tried to kill us in the forest hunting mushrooms. Mm-hmm. And he's from Madrid, He's like a very good person to ask these kind of things. And he told me, go to this place called Aramburu. I didn't know it, but then he told me, and the name of the chef is Pachi Zumárraga. Then I knew right away it was like a Basque place. Aramburu is also like a Basque name, but it was written like with like in French, so it's probably French Basque. And this is an incredible place. I talk to you about it, man. Super, super nice. Like it really felt like, I don't know, it reminded me of Le Bagatan, like that vibe of, but only in the vibe, like the way the service would approach you, and the way they would make you feel at home and these kind of things. But then the food, it was very, very fine and very simple, like just super nice produce with 2 to 3 elements, like these kind of things. I remember like the appetizer was a mochi filled with prawns that you had to eat it like in just one bite. Then I had like, what's the name of navajas?
Razor clams.
Razor clams. razor clams with a black sesame paste, also super nice.
Okay. Wow, experimental though.
Yeah. Then I had like these things that were like vegetables with lamb sweetbreads, and on the bottom it had like some kind of I will say like a green salsa, some kind of like a herbal pesto, but not a pesto, but like that kind of texture. But
like a salsa verde sort of thing.
Yeah, but like thick and with I expected to have like many different herbs because it was very, very strong and fresh and but at the same time super nice balanced. And this guy, the chef, he's such a character, man. He's like Hagrid from Harry Potter. Imagine Hagrid after an extreme makeover coming out with a clean cut and a clean beard, something like that. But like this big guy, like
mountain man.
Yeah, and he would take care partly of the dining room. Like he would go to most tables, and his or if wife or business partner would take the other half of the dining room, but he would go every time to the pass, and he would try most things that came out of the kitchen. So he was kind of like directing the kitchen from the dining room and going to like controlling everything. And I know because Fernando told me that he's the one that designs all the dishes and everything. I also had like a black pudding with chimichurri, and when the partner brings me, she tells me like, yeah, and this is chimichurri because I'm Argentine, and that's the only one that my business partner allowed me to have from Argentina.
That's nice.
I super recommend it. Amazing place. Haramburu.
What's it called again?
Haramburu, but with H. Harambure is written, something like that.
Oh, yeah. I know. I just Googled it, but the only result I get is Harambe.
That's it for this week's episode of Potluck Food Talks. If you like what we're doing, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok as Potluck Food Talks. The show airs every Monday.